Hello, good night. This is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe. I'm here live to take your U.S. immigration related questions. Go ahead and put your questions in the comments so that I may answer those questions. I have a great topic for you tonight. I'm going to be talking about applying for VAWA immigration relief in the parent-child relationship. Yes, VAWA does not only apply to the marital situation or a marital relationship, but it also applies to a child who's under 21 and who's unmarried, who is being mistreated by their parent, their US citizen or legal permanent resident parent, or if you're a parent that's being mistreated by your US citizen or legal permanent, your US citizen son or daughter who is 21 and up. So if you're in a situation like this, or you know somebody who's in a situation like this and it is involving a parent, they should definitely go ahead and schedule an appointment. Let's confirm they qualify and get started on that relief. Hi there, Dea. It's nice to see you. Good evening. All right, I am here. Now I'm going to tell you I'm usually here in the nighttime at around 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, but I am making some changes and you're the first to find out. So today and onwards, I will be coming on at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So I'm even a little late now, but 4 p.m. Eastern time is going to be the new time that I will be here from Monday to Friday. So if you have any questions, you have any concerns, you have anything that you want to talk about regarding immigration, you can always come on here and look out for me at 4 p.m. Eastern time. I'll also be on Instagram at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. So if you come here, you don't see me at 4, you'll see me at 4:30 Eastern time. So let us get started. So VAWA in the parent-child relationship. So I already listed who qualifies in this situation. Now, what does that look like? When it comes on to the son or the daughter who's under 21, under 25 in some cases, who is being mistreated, what does this look like in regards to mistreatment? Now, it can still include the verbal, emotional abuse, abandonment, emotional neglect. So if your parent, for example, your parent is a deadbeat, and they intentionally, do actions that harm you as a child, they did it to you as a child, and they've continued to do that onwards. Even if they did it to you as a child, you're now a grown-up. Guess what? This could qualify you to apply for your own relief. So because remember, being abandoned, being emotionally neglected, being ignored by a parent is a form of mistreatment and abuse. Some people, if you're doing that in the United States, some people face legal consequences for these types of acts against their child. And so this type of mistreatment, this type of abuse against you as a child can qualify. So if your parent is a US citizen or legal permanent resident, they're acting like a deadbeat. They have a history of emotionally neglecting you, abandoning you. They have called you names, they've verbally abused you, they've done things that are cruel towards you, then this could qualify you for immigration relief. This means to apply to stay in the United States, to get your status, to get your work permit, and then to adjust status to permanent resident. So how long does a sibling sponsorship take? I'm now looking at questions that are coming in. So right now, minimum of 14 years in the Caribbean. In other countries like Mexico, it is going to 22 years. So it is very, very long, impossibly long in certain situations. So it's not going to be the way to fix your status here. Usually to be able to fix your status, you're going to at least have to have a US citizen or legal permanent resident, spouse or parent. All right. So what if I meet someone, I don't have any visa, they live in the US, I want to go meet them? So at a minimum, you'll have to get a visitor's visa. And in order to get a visitor's visa, you'll still have to prove that you have strong ties to your home country to be able to get it. When I say strong ties, they want to see strong ties, you proving strong ties to your home country so that they have reassurance that you are going to return to your country after a temporary visit. So at a minimum, it's going to be that. There's no way for the person in the US to sponsor you unless you're their fiance or unless you're their spouse. So keep putting those questions in the comments. Today I'm talking about getting a VAWA immigration relief in the parent-child situation. Getting relief based on mistreatment by a U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident, spouse or parent is not just, Andrita, thanks so much. No, it's not just for the marital situation. It is also for the parent child, meaning if you're under 21, under 25 in some cases, and you are the son or daughter of a U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident, then you could apply for this. This will allow you to get your work permit. It will allow you to adjust status to permanent residence, and all while staying in the U.S. This can even apply if you are in the United States without your papers. That means if you cross the border without permission, this relief is still available for individuals who have crossed the border without permission. So it is not just limited to those who are here with a current valid status or who came in and they have an expired stay. So keep putting those questions in the comments. That's why I'm here. I'm here to answer your immigration related questions. So put those questions in the comments. All right. So let's talk about what this process looks like. Now, once we have determined you qualify, and once again, remember mistreatment in the parent-child relationship. I'm going to start with examples in regards to the parent, the child being the subject, the victim of the mistreatment. Where the child is, if they were abandoned, neglected, if their parent was a deadbeat, if they were called names, if they were beaten physically by that parent, then this could be a path to get permanent getting status through VAWA and even permanent resident. Now, if you are the parent, because as a parent of a U.S. citizen who is 21 and up, you could qualify, even if that son or daughter was mistreating you from they were under 21. When they reach 21, you can apply for your own VAWA relief. Now, what does mistreatment by a child look like? So for example, as parents, sometimes your child is going through something. Doesn't mean they're necessarily a bad person, but you may be the subject of their frustration or their emotional turmoil. And as a result of that, you are being mistreated. So for example, if your child is going through a mental break, or they're going through they're being disturbed emotionally, maybe they are taking substances right now, they have addiction issues, maybe they're stealing from you, they're breaking into your home, they're taking things from you, they're threatening you. Sometimes they may be threatening your immigration status just because of their current state of mind. That qualifies you for this relief, meaning with this relief, you don't have to involve the U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident who is mistreating you. This is completely confidential. And then since we're talking about the parent-child relationship, I know that there is another concern. As a parent myself, I understand that you may be having a concern about whether this is going to affect your loved one, that the person who is mistreating you, you may be mistreated, but you don't want to get them in trouble. And so if you file this VAWA relief, will it get them into trouble? Will they be arrested? Will they be investigated? And the answer is no. This is for you to be able to get your relief. This is not about the relative this is not about immigration working with law enforcement to get your relative locked up. The officer is going to be reviewing this application to see if you qualify for your permission to stay here and get your work permit and get your permanent residence. So you don't have to worry about that. As a matter of fact, they cannot call anyone outside of the agency about your situation. They can't call the police and disclose any information. They cannot call your relative and notify them or ask them any questions. And so you are insulated. What is going to matter here is that you show sufficient and credible evidence to show that you do qualify for this form of relief. And that's what I help my clients with. I help my clients to apply for this form of relief. And there are different ways to present credible evidence. It means believable evidence. It doesn't mean that it has to be something like a video camera showing your relative beating you, or it has to be a police report, or the police have to be involved. Gathering evidence really comes down to what is going on in your particular case. But for example, if you have text messages, if you have evidence that your relative is drawing large amounts of money from your account without permission, if you have, and yes, financial abuse does count as well. If you have a situation where you are emotionally disturbed yourself, you're traumatized from this type of mistreatment, I know some of my clients, they go to counselors to get help with their mental health. Or I also refer them to get counseling or to get an evaluation to discuss what has happened to them emotionally and why this counts as abuse or mistreatment. Remember that extreme cruelty counts here. Extreme cruelty counts, and so it doesn't have to involve physical abuse. It can be where your relative is intentionally, willfully cruel towards you, vindictive towards you. If you can relate to this, then VAWA could be for you. And it is a form of relief that's important, that's often overlooked because people tend to minimize the type of abuse that they're going through. They'll say things like, but I didn't get hit. Sometimes being verbally abused, emotionally abused, is just as bad as being physically harmed, because while the physical abuse leaves outward and inward trauma, verbal abuse, even though it may not show externally, sometimes it even does, but if it doesn't show externally, it will show internally. So don't downplay what you have gone through, the trauma you've gone through. Make sure you get the assistance to make things right for yourself, to move forward in your process. All right, so I don't see any more questions, and that is, I'm coming to a close. So I'm going to give you a little more time to put your questions in the comments so that I can address those questions. But I'm going to close with this. What does this process look like? After we've determined that you qualify, we gather your evidence. What is it going to look like? So we go ahead, we file everything for you. We represent you through the process. Once we filed your petition, the next is you're going to be scheduled for a biometrics appointment. After the biometrics, that's a fingerprinting appointment for your background check. This is where I want to stop for a minute to say, don't be intimidated by a background check. With all my clients, some of my clients, they may have legal issues themselves. They may have a previous arrest. That should not stop you from applying for this relief. There are ways to, if some arrests don't affect your ability to get this at all, you can still move forward. Some, if it will, there are ways to be able to apply for forgiveness through a waiver. If you've come into the country with someone else's passport, there may be a waiver available for you. The first thing you need to do is schedule an appointment. Everything is confidential in our appointment. You can tell me everything, and then I can evaluate exactly how to approach your situation. But this relief is very flexible. And even if you have a situation in your past, if you have a DUI, if you had shoplifting, if you've had other legal issues yourself, it doesn't change the fact that you have been through abuse and you deserve the relief. And so there are ways around it. You just need to take the steps to schedule the appointment and move forward. What's the process to migrate from Jamaica to the USA? So Chef 20, so many ways, so many different ways. It's going to come down to your particular circumstances. That's where the consultation with me is going to be very important. I could spend hours and hours and hours. Unfortunately, we don't have hours. So when it comes on to questions that are going that are this specific, we really need to talk about your situation to tell you what you qualify for. How can you migrate? Because there are so many ways that so many different people can qualify to come to the US. It just comes down to, so Chef 20, you can go to the link in the profile. When you go there, there are so many options. One is to schedule the appointment yourself. Then there's buttons to go to the website. Go to the website. There's the online chat form. There's also the phone number. It's 24/7. Scheduling coordinators are available from 9:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. and then from 5:30 to 10:30. So around the clock coverage. And when scheduling coordinators are not available, there are the after hours receptionists. How long does it take if my green card holder filed for me? I'm in the US with visa and have a child. So Diane's, remember that if they're a green card holder, there are so many different things that you have to keep in mind here. Everything has to fit just right. So Diane's so important. Get representation through your process, because you have to have an approved I-130. You have to have an immigrant visa number available to you. Right now, we know there's an immigrant visa number available to you, but in order to adjust status, you have to have that approved I-130, file the adjustment of status at that point. Once you filed it, you have to have legal status at that time. So if you have a visa, it's going to depend on what type of visa you have. Can you keep your visa going can you keep your visa current and valid until you've gotten your approved I-130? So get legal representation. Your process may not be as simple as you think it is. And then having a child together, that's great evidence of your bona fides. Now with and when I say bona fides, great evidence to show that your marriage is real. Now, I-130s are taking about over a year, so 12 months to even 16 months to get approval. So it's taking over a year to get approved. Make sure you get the guidance you need. So Diane, so you overstayed. I'm glad that you said that. You definitely need to get legal advice, because once you've overstayed, you're going to need a waiver, because there are two ways to approach a situation. If you have a green card holder spouse, if your spouse is close to getting US citizenship, then a waiver may not be required as long as they actually become a US citizen. Then you can adjust status as a spouse of a US citizen. Shouldn't be a problem there. But if your spouse he has a couple of years until he becomes a citizen, then you're going to want to make sure that you file a waiver to get forgiveness for the overstay. And it's not going to allow you can stay here right up until you get the waiver approved, right up until you're scheduled the appointment, but you're going to be scheduled at the embassy in your home country. So it's just get legal advice, because it can be complex, and you want to make sure that you understand your options. Go to the link in the profile and you'll be able to schedule your appointment. A scheduling coordinator is available right now to take your call and schedule that appointment. So can I apply for adjustment of status nearing the end of my OPT? So Cheyenne, it's going to depend on your qualifications. So who's your employer? Is your employer willing to apply for you? Could you possibly apply for the national interest waiver? Do you have enough time on your OPT to go through adjustment of status? These would be questions that I would have to discuss with you in a consultation, just because those questions are going to come down to your particular circumstances. And then at that point, I can discuss with you whether it's possible to do adjustment of status. Jumping from OPT to adjustment of status isn't automatic. Usually you'll have to have a stepping stone. So you'll have to qualify for something. For example, a national interest waiver is a type of application you could submit. You can apply for your own green card if you have an advanced degree and you have important work that you can get done here, and it's going to be in the best interest of the US. That's going to have some sort of positive impact on the United States. And while I term it very simply, there are different factors that we have to look at, different types of qualifications that you have to show through showing documentation, and I can discuss that with you in a consultation. Do you think the F1 family category will be showing any signs of speeding up in the California center? So right now we just go based on the processing times on the USCIS, and it's hard to say. You hear every day that the USCIS, they're trying to tackle the backlog issue, and so if that may help them to speed it up. But keep in mind, why is there a backlog, right, when it comes on to the F1 family category? There's a backlog because there are so many people applying that they outnumber the number of immigrant visas available. So what happens is that, say they're issuing a certain number of immigrant visas, say 55, say they have 50,000 and they have 500,000 applicants. What that means that they have to take it they have to issue these visas on a first come first serve basis. So that 50,000 a year is going to be broken up into a 10-year wait list. And it's hard unless they increase the immigrant visa numbers that are available. And so there was the bill that had all of that in place. They wanted to reuse 400,000 unused immigrant visa numbers, but that hasn't passed, right? It passed the House of Representatives. It has not moved in the Senate. And so if that moves forward, then it may be a way to speed it up. But if right now we're looking at years worth. So right now F1 is 6 to 7 years, unfortunately. All right, so let's see. So because of our child, so Diane's, the waiver could be a good option here, but I need to get the full picture of your situation. Don't go it alone. Make sure you schedule an appointment. So Chev 20, does the consultant fee vary? So I am a U.S. immigration attorney. So I don't charge consultant fees. I represent my clients through their process. So I am U.S. immigration attorney Sherifa Tharpe. I'm a licensed attorney. I practice nationally in all 50 states and around the globe. I represent my clients all over the world. If you have an immigration issue, I can represent you as an attorney. And so the next question here is, does the legal fees vary? It does, depending on your situation and what you qualify for. So Cheyenne 585, absolutely, you will speak with me directly. I do conduct all of my consultations just because in a consultation I am giving legal advice. After all fees have been paid and all documents submitted, how long does it take to get an interview? If you're talking about the National Visa Center, it can range just depending on the embassy, but I'm seeing about three months to up to a year to get that interview. Letitia, thanks for sharing. I appreciate it. All right, so I am going to be heading on over to Instagram. I'm the immigration attorney on Instagram. So if you would like to continue this conversation, we can hop on over to Instagram right now. So you can go to on TikTok, you can go onto the profile and you'll see the Instagram button, click on it, or you can just go to the link in the profile, you'll see the button to Instagram. Or you can just look for me on Instagram. I'm the immigration attorney. You can go there, follow me. A lot of my content is already there on Instagram. So I often release videos throughout the day that can give you good tips, updates, and information about how you may qualify. So join me there and we will continue to talk there in a minute. Miss Honey Butter, thanks for the love. I appreciate it. How long will it take to get an I-601A approved? So I've seen anywhere from 6 months to 2 years. So they are backlogged right now, but I'm seeing about 2 years, unfortunately. All right, have a good one, everyone. I will see you on Instagram in a minute. It was a pleasure. Thanks for all your questions. Hope to see you in a minute or speak with you in a consultation. Phone lines are open. We're ready to take your call, ready to get involved in your case and get started. Chicago, USA, right now, everything is dead silent in regards to immigration reform and relief. So I'm keeping an eye, and as soon as something happens, you will hear me screaming it from the mountaintops. In the meantime, have a good evening. See you tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Have a good one.